The first thing that we are going to discuss is the concept of the accrual. Okay, what is accrual? Accrual means which is not on the cash basis, and most of the transaction nowadays they are not on the cash basis, they are recorded on the credit basis. For example, if you are buying a good as a businessman from other business, from your supplier, normally you buy on the credit basis. It may be a 10 days period, it may be 30 days period, it may be 40 days period, 60 days period, or if it is from outside the country or outside the city, it may be for the 6 months or 1 year. So the time period is agreed between the buyer and the seller, and normally the transactions are not on the cash basis. Again, as a seller, if you are a businessman and you are selling some goods, you are not selling 100% goods on the cash basis. You may be selling some of the goods or most of the goods in some businesses on the credit basis. So that's why this is a concept of the accrual. Means sometimes it happens that people do not record the transaction when it is not a cash basis. For example, if you're selling a goods, so on the credit you will not record it, but business says, the accounting rule says that it should be recorded when there is a agreement for that. Even the goods are delivered, you have not received money, even a $1 you have not received, you have sold the goods of $1 million, but you have to record it because this is a sale of the current period. It should be recorded in the current period, irrespective either you have received the cash or not. The cash receipt is not important. The main thing is what is the agreement and the delivery. If the goods are delivered and the agreement is done, so it means it is a sale for the business. So in the same way, if you have expenses, like you have an electricity expense of the December, but you are going to pay it in the January. So if your year is closing in the December, you have to write it as an expense of December. You have not paid yet that expense, like electricity expense is there, or the gas or the fuel expense, but this is the expense of the current year, which is ending on the December 31st. So it means it should be recorded. So accrual says that it doesn't mean that if there's no cash involved, it is not transaction. So the cash transactions are recorded. At the same time, some accrued or credit transactions should also be recorded. So sometimes the cash is not involved, it's the future promise to receive the money or pay the money, still it is a transaction and it should be recorded. So accrual transactions are also very important in the business. So that is very important concept, that sometimes some of the business are recording only transactions which are on the cash basis, and they are ignoring if there is no cash. So this concept is wrong. So we have to follow the accrual concept in the accounting, that if there is any transaction, it may be on the cash basis or it may be on the credit basis. So credit basis transaction or the accrual transaction should also be recorded in the business account. The next thing is the concept of the realization of the revenue. Okay. The same example, we say that you agreed, let's say you agreed on 30th of December 2022, but the goods will be delivered on the 11th of January 2023. Now, we have the two things. We are not considering anything about the cash. You have agreed to sell the goods on which date? On the 30th of December 2022. But the goods will be delivered, it will be transferred, the title will be transferred to the buyer from seller on 11th of January next year 2023. So it means when we have to record this transaction as a sale, when we have to realize the revenue, this is the realization of revenue. The revenue should be recorded in 2022 or it should be recorded in 2023. So the accounting rule says that it should be recorded in 2023, not in 2022. Why? Because the more important thing is the delivery. The more important thing is when the possession is transferred from the seller to the buyer, when the risk and return is transferred from the seller to the buyer. So that date is important. If you have agreed, you have made all the arrangements and all these things, but still if the goods are not delivered, so it is not considered as a sales. Even the same case is for the services. You made an agreement to give the services, but still you have not given any service, you have not rendered any service. So in that case, it will not be considered a sale of 2022. The sale will be recovered, or the sale will be recorded only when the delivery of the goods or services will be finished. So you made the agreement in 2022, but the services rendered, the services delivered to the customer in 2023. So it will be the revenue of 2023, not the revenue of the 2022. You are receiving the cash or not is not important here. For example, we just change the values, like for example, you have delivered the goods in 2022 and the cash you will receive in 2023. So here it is delivered. The goods or service, okay, but the cash payment or receipt will be in 2023. So in that case, you made the agreement, the goods or services delivered in 2022, but still you have not received the cash. So it means, again, if you remember the accrual concept, the focus is not on the cash, the focus is on the agreement, the focus is on the delivery, not on the cash. Cash you receive in advance, cash you can receive at the same time when there is a transfer of the goods or services, or the cash you can receive in the future also. So that's why here important is the delivery, not the cash. So this is the sale of 2022, not the sale of 2023. So in 2022 it is a sale and you will write it as a receivable. It is a sale on the credit, but you will receive the money maybe in 2022 or in 2023 or even 2024, or maybe possible that your customer is declared insolvent and you are not receiving the money at all, but still that will be recorded as the sale of 2022. So the revenue recognition, that is very important. The revenue should be realized when the goods are delivered or the services are delivered, or simply when the title is transferred, or sometime when the risk and return is transferred from the seller to the buyer. At that time the goods should be recorded as the sales, or the goods should be recorded in the revenue. Before that it should not be recorded. And if there is any difference in the year, like a previous financial year and the current financial year, we have to focus that actually when the risk and return is transferred from the seller to the buyer. So that is very important in recording the revenue or in realization of the revenue. Again, we have to consider the accrual concept, that the cash we receive or not is not important. The cash may be received in the future, so that's why realization of the revenue, only the delivery of the goods and services is done, and then the cash may be received in advance at the same time or in the future, so that is not important. So the accrual transactions are also there. So the risk and return and the delivery of goods and services, or in some cases the title transfer, is very important while recording the revenue or while realizing the revenue. So this is the concept, almost 12 concepts in the accounting. Some of the concepts were there, some of the conventions were there in the accounting that we have discussed. And still, if you have any doubt, if you have any question, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you very much.